Hello, friends. Welcome in to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures each and every day from right here in the Impact Power Sports Studio. Thank you to Impact Power Sports. They just committed to another fantastically productive ad campaign with your old pal EZ. Thank you so much for your support. Impact Power Sports online at impactpowersportsmi.com. Go there for a Yamaha golf cart, perhaps a motorcycle, ATV, UTV. How about an e-bike, go-kart, motorcycle, you name it, they've got it. Scooters at Impact Power Sports online at impactpowersportsmi.com. Go to their website, shop online, visit them in person in Rockford, Michigan. All right, so welcome. It is a Big Fraud Wednesday. We will be doing our evening shows with Ben Glaze coming up on a Big Fraud Wednesday. We'll kick it off at 6 p.m. with Who Are These Free Beers? We'll talk more about Diddy in a second. I've kind of got my eye on the video feed as we speak. In fact, let's actually check in right now and see what's going on, because the verdict is in, but they're now waiting for the announcement.
Sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura.
Count
three.
Verdict.
We have guilty. Count 3 is guilty. For the transportation of Cassie Ventura. That is guilty. Count 4. This is the sex trafficking of Jane. That's a pseudonym. Not guilty. Count 5. We have guilty. That is 5 counts. We have a mixed verdict here. Again, count 1 as it relates to racketeering, not guilty. Count 2 as it relates to sex trafficking, not guilty. Count 3, guilty. Count 4, not guilty. Count 5, guilty. Now, we should bring up here, Misty, all of these counts have a range of different sentences, a range of different
evidentiary burdens. The 2 that he was convicted in are transportation to engage in prostitution.
But it is a mixed verdict, if you will.
The sex trafficking and racketeering, he's not guilty. Those ones, I think, are more serious.
The Mann Act, these charges, these were the easiest for prosecutors to prove, the lowest hanging fruit, merely required showing that state lines were crossed for the purpose to engage in prostitution. We saw a lot of evidence on these charges. Did not have that element, Laura, of force, fraud, or coercion. And this carries the lightest sentence of these charges. It is a maximum of 10 years. And keep in mind, when you're talking about maximums aren't the rule. They are the exception. They're for the most exceptional and severe cases. So now you're talking about a sentence that's potentially in the lower range with time served because he's been behind bars. The fact that these sex trafficking charges, specifically with respect to Cassie Ventura, means that the jury was convinced by the defense, at least with respect to reasonable doubt, that the commercial sex, i.e. the freak-offs, were not connected to some of this violence, that there was not that force, fraud, or coercion element. That is by far, from a penalty perspective, the most serious. It carried a 15-year minimum. So that is a huge distinction.
So that's a win
this is
for
the
Diddy.
best case scenario, in my view, for the defense. A lot of us opined yesterday that when the jury asked for a readback of Cassie Ventura and Daniel Phillips, one of the escorts' testimony, that read perhaps negatively for the defense. The jury was digging in to see if there was that force, fraud, or coercion. Clearly, it went the other way.
And it's interesting.
So that means that the defense did their job in saying, "Hey, the freak-offs were just fucking people fucking. That's all it was," and that obviously they were successful in proving that, and that all of that. I mean, the argument was made that the racketeering conspiracy and the sex trafficking. Not so, and the jury bought it.
Running guns. Now, Federal prosecutors have used a far more expansive view of racketeering, especially in recent years in SDNY, right? Because they want to bring in all of the worst evidence. They want to stretch back the material decades ago. And so you've talked about how it allows them to tell a full story. Well, it turns out doing that in this case did not fulfill what the prosecutors had hoped, because obviously they have now cleared him. They have acquitted him of that top charge of racketeering. They have acquitted him of 2 other charges of using force and fraud, despite having that video, right, Misty? We talked about that video being so damning for him, where you see him on tape pulling Cassie Ventura by the hair. You see him stomping on her. The jury heard evidence that he actually paid money to a security guard to bury that video, paid him in a paper bag, and yet it wasn't enough. It was not enough. So when it comes to the sex trafficking, yesterday, those questions that the jury asked for the readback with respect to the testimony aligned perfectly to what prosecutors in their closing argument said were 3 very obvious instances of sex trafficking, because they did not have to find that it was the hundreds of times.
We need to talk a little bit about how Eric Zane, the Nostradamus of the podcast world, essentially, I was 100% right about the exoneration. Wow, look at her. Holy moly. Yeah, I am 100% accurate. Easy, we see you, but not the video. Really? It looks on my end like you can see it. I don't know why that is. I don't know why you can't see that video. That's remarkable. Maybe it's something on NBC's end. Because I'm looking right now at what you should be seeing. Is it just a black screen? I don't know. Fuck it. Anyway, that is a huge win for Diddy. And now I don't know what happens next. I think what you ultimately do if you're Diddy is you wait for the sentencing on the 2 things you were convicted of, which I would doubt that he will spend any time locked away. And if that is the case, his next job is to do nothing. What is his net worth? Diddy net worth. Because he's no doubt spent a lot of money in defending himself. All right. In 2025, he's estimated to be worth about $400 million. This is a significant decrease from previous estimates, which had him pegged as a billionaire. This drop is largely attributed to legal battles and loss of lucrative business deals, according to reports from various outlets. Okay, so now you're going to be a free man. You've just had the fight of your life. And you've still got $400 million. I think you just go away, right? But that's not entirely his only option. I mean, we all know how this works in America. You lay low, and the next thing you know, it's forgotten. Like Bill Cosby right now. He is at the top of the heap. His Q rating is at an all-time high. He's selling out shows everywhere. Bill Cosby did Madison Square Garden last night to a standing ovation. Incredible. When OJ died, he had more people that were in love with him than who despised him. There was probably only a couple dozen people on the planet who gave a shit that he murdered those 2 people. All Diddy has to do is lay low for a few weeks' time, and he can turn it around. Who spends more on baby oil, Diddy or The Rock? Well, Diddy by far. Linda says typically people serve 85% of federal sentences. Yeah, maybe he will get sometime. I don't know. But, I mean, he also has $400 million. So there's a possibility he could sidestep that. Cole says, imagine how big of a freak off he's going to celebrate with. Yeah, everybody's going to be having sex at that thing. By the way, Tyler was able to see the video. And he is suggesting that there was user error on the part of you all. Look, I don't know. I have no idea. But nevertheless, in my opinion, this is a big win for Diddy. Thank you to Megan for tipping me off. She sent along a last-minute bit of information saying, "Easy, you gotta talk about this." Aram is here talking about another key trial. Linda is on Kohberger plea watch. Kohberger, I forget his first name. He's the one who slaughtered 4 kids in their beds. You know, I with some type of weapon. I forgot what it was called. Some type of blade. When it comes to slaughters, the fact that he was able to quietly slaughter 4 people. I mean, this is a stealthy motherfucker, Brian Kohberger. Think about it. Like, if you slaughter somebody, there's going to be some noise involved. This was like assassin level shit. To slaughter 1, not a peep. Next person, Slaughterfest, you're slaughtered. 3, hey, welcome to Slaughterville. Boom. And then 4, you've been dreaming away, but while you've been dreaming, I've been slaughtering. And then slaughters them. This animal is taking a plea. In case you missed out on this story, he has agreed to a plea where he, I killed these people, but in the plea, supposedly what I'm learning is that he does not have to, like, explain himself, which I don't know if I'd want that even. I mean, people are like, we got to know the motivation. It's like, I wouldn't want it, you know? I wouldn't. And another thing, I think people need to start getting out of the habit of when there's like a slaughter fest to like go to the trial. You gotta get past. You gotta not do that. If I'm like a family member of those 4, I don't want to have to sit through that and gruesome pictures and gruesome details about your loved one. I'm just say, fuck it. I'm not going. Cole with a great point. He's a psycho. That's the motivation. That's all you need to know. He's absolutely. I couldn't agree more. David says, I'm not up to speed on this story. Summary, please. I know you are up to speed on it. This was the 4 college kids, 20, 21 years old, beautiful people, sleeping in their beds in their whatever living arrangement they had at their college in Idaho. And this wacko somehow got into where they were sleeping, doesn't know them, and just kills them. 4 randos. Absolutely unbelievable. So now he's going to take a plea. He'll be locked up forever. And then somebody made the point yesterday, I think it was Linda, that we can only hope that prison justice for that motherfucker when it's all said and done. You ever get that last drink of coffee and it's got little bits of coffee in it? That's a bad vibe. All right. God, I was going to talk. Today is one of those days where I'm kind of like going in like 5 different directions. Let's get to a preview of who are these free beers. As David says, damn, thanks for the update. I was not aware of this story. I cannot believe that. You're really in touch with shit. I cannot believe that this has left your brain. The Brian Koberger 4 Iowa co-ed murders. We will review Who Are These Free Beers, episode number 60, right now, or preview it, I should say. The show happens at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Eric Zane. You can sign up for 7 days free. I just had another person sign up for 7 days free. Thank you so much, too. That would be Landon Moorhead. Thank you, Landon. Thank you to Madison Pace, by the way, who upgraded from Tier 1 to Tier 2. I appreciate that. All right. So on this edition of Who Are These Free Beers, we don't have any material from this week to review because the gang is off on a well-deserved time away. They have been burning the candle at both ends, and God damn it, they need time off. Good news, I always work months behind. Like the shit I'm pulling right now is from late April, early May. I'll listen to these shows. I hear the things that I need to hear, and then I will. I'll timestamp them. I'll write it down. I'll pull the audio, and then start building my little files, my collections, if you will. Which, by the way, I'm establishing a brand new collection. There's a couple of them that are kind of, they don't happen that often. So I have to slowly build the collection of these clips over time. They just don't happen that often. And one of the things that I have, this is only 3 clips, and it's only 5.5 seconds, but it is the beginning of a supercut. All supercuts have to start out small at first. And our pal Freebeer loves to sing.
Vodka shots! I don't want to be here for this. That means 5. Vodka shots! I don't want to be here for this. That means 5.
He had a operatic style, I guess, with those. He sounds like a guy who would be singing show tunes. And it sounds goddamn awful.
Vodka shots! I don't want to be here for this. That means 5.
Bob says that was loud. What was loud?
Vodka shots! I don't want to be here for this. That means 5.
Alan says his singing lessons are paying off. Yeah, I guess the nose knows that he likes singing show tunes. So she got him like a singing lesson, which it just sounds so fucking stupid to me. God damn. She always tries to like tap into things that he likes, which I guess makes sense, but it just always seems so much like a try hard moment. He likes playing basketball, so she got him a basketball with a computer in it. And it like you like plug a plug into the basketball and it tells you how shitty you are. Tophus says, Jesus Christ, the more you play it, the more I want to punch him.
Vodka shots! Vodka shots! Vodka shots! I don't want to be here for this. That means 5. Vodka shots! I don't want to be here for this. That means 5. That means 5. Vodka shots! I don't want. That means 5. That means 5.
I also have this moment that we need to get into. Free Beer asked Steve a question about his parents getting a divorce. I don't know why, but Greg really thinks that's funny. Like, he used to bust my chops about my mom and dad getting a divorce all the time. And I was like, well, what a weird thing to use as comedy. So he always does that to Steve now, because Steve's parents were divorced, and Steve was older when they got divorced. I think he was a teenager, like 15, 16 years old. And I'm pretty sure it fucked him up, because he talks about how he had to get like intensive mental health help, because he talks about this on the show. Something I'm not talking out of school, that he's so upset because his daddy wasn't there, that he's very upset about that. So I can understand that. But Greg likes bringing these awful jokes up to him, and Steve never responds well. Like, this is how Steve responds.
What makes you saddest? The fact that your parents got divorced, or you never even got a stepdad out of it?
So that's really awkward. One more time.
What makes you saddest? The fact that your parents got divorced, or you never even got a stepdad out of it?
Okay, now that's not the first time Steve's felt badly about one of Greg's jokes when it comes to his mom and dad splitting. But guys, it's okay. Greg fixes it.
What makes you saddest? The fact that your parents got divorced, or you never even got a stepdad out of it? I'm just kidding.
He's just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh. Holy shit. I feel bad for Steve in that regard. David says, wow, what a question. Maureen says, well, Greg's a dick for saying that. I wouldn't respond either. No. You don't understand. It wasn't that bad because, this part.
I'm just kidding.
If you'd say you're just kidding, it's,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So there you go. Cole says, have Freebeer's kids gotten a stepdad yet? Well, that's true. You think that he would be a little bit more sensitive to that because he has fucked up his kids with his divorce. Anybody who thinks that when mom and dad get divorced, like let's say you have a scenario where you have a mom and a dad, and they get divorced. Don't kid yourself into thinking that the kids don't have a problem with it. They're always very sad. They would love their mom and their dad to be with them at all times. Now, I get it. Sometimes that happens. It doesn't make you a bad person if you get a divorce. But no matter what you say or do, no matter how great the stepmom is or the stepdad is, it still leaves a mark. It is a very damaging thing. It's very, very, very sad. Tofa says, is Steve getting a divorce? No. What would lead you to believe that? Tofa's heads. Remember when Steve flipped out when someone in the next room was making a bunch of noise? Hold on a second. Phone call. Oh, they hung up. I hope then pray to fake Jesus that Steve flips out on free beer. Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen. Jeremy says he should ask his kids, what makes you happiest, that your mom and dad hate each other or that you have a stepdad now? Oh. David in Hudsonville says, I'm just kidding. Always fixes any dumb question or statement. David says, according to Freebeer. Murder Lover Linda says, thanks, EZ. Well, I mean, it just, the only time I think that an exception could be made is if they don't know the dad or the mom. It's just not fun. Again, I understand. Sometimes let the ends justify the means, but Cole says divorce messes the kids up almost as bad as Chicago gangs. Yeah, Chicago gangs might be the worst of all time. All right. Today, 6 p.m., Ben Glaze, EZ. We have another edition of Who Are These Free Beers, followed by the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. I heard from Stu McAllister, and I have been announcing on Big 101.3, we've been promoting the, what is the name of that comic who's going to be in town? Jim Gaffigan is coming to Grand Rapids. On the radio, though, I say, hey, Big 101.3 is bringing you Jim Gaffigan with special opening act Stu McAllister. Now, I do that all the time. Louis C.K. is going to be at DeVos for 2 nights. I do the same thing, but I say Ben Glaze. Ben Glaze opens up each of the Louis C.K. shows coming to Grand Rapids at DeVos Hall. I even go so far as to say, swear to God, the Allegan County Fair coming up in September, they're actually having a comedy night on Friday, the Friday of the fair, with Jeff Dunham and Gabriel Iglesias. But on the radio, I announce, ladies and gentlemen, triple threat comedy show. Greg Neuenfeld opens up his passive-aggressive tour. His passive-aggressive tour comes to West Michigan. And then he's going to hand it off to Jeff Dunham, who hands it off to Gabriel Iglesias. I always announce those shows that way, just to see if anybody notices. And most of the time, no one does. I say the craziest shit on the radio. That is not true. I've been announcing for years that Bill Simonson, Huge from The Huge Show, hosts a Saturday night disco swing dance party at the local gay bar. And the latest thing I say is, Billy Simonson, Saturday night disco swing dance party at Rumors, 10 p.m. start, thong check at 9. Show Billy your thong, you get half off admission. And don't forget, it's always a charitable event, as Billy's kissing booth for kids' charities is open. Plop down a couple of bucks, and Billy will plant a smacker on you. All of the money goes to children's charities. There is no charity. There is no dance party. Billy is not at the gay bar. I just say it, and no one notices. I can count on one hand the times that people have said, hey, what? So yesterday was one of those times because I promoted Stu McAllister live in concert, opening up for Jim Gaffigan. Well, I got this text from Stu. So I'm opening up for Gaffigan. That's going to be a big show for you, Stu. Did you hear about it, or did someone tell you about it? And he's referring to a friend of his named Jamie. It's a lady. Used to live with him. I think they're just like kind of pals now. Might have been a romantic interest at one point, but now it's kind of like, eh. Jamie did. She thought it was real. She's going to kill you. Now, I had forgotten who this chick is. Who is Jamie? He says, the lady who used to live with me. Oh, yes. Gotcha. Does she live in the area now? I thought she moved away. Then I said, Ben Glaze is opening up for Louie. Free Beer is opening up for Jeff Dunham and Fluffy Iglesias. No, Jamie came into town tonight. I'm having a procedure done tomorrow, and she's my ride. Yeah? Well, good luck with that. I hope everything goes okay. It's probably going to make you a lot more F rhymes with baggy. He wrote, camera up the old dick hole. Then he told me that he told jokes one more time. I see a picture of Stu telling jokes, and he's got like a piece of paper in his hand on his Instagram. I hope to God he didn't have that piece of paper in his hand when he was on stage, because there is nothing worse than a comedian who needs like a cheat sheet. I said perfect preparation for your show at Van Andel Arena. How about the fact that we can stick a camera up your pee hole now? I mean, that's been like that for a long time. The fact that something so small, it can go right up your pee hole, which, by the way, my hands are tingling just saying that. And they can get a good look as to what the hell is going on with you. Barefoot Megan is here. She says you can stick a lot of things up your pee hole. Well, all right, but I don't want to know them. Megan arrived at the house with her puppy dog the other day and her hubby, and no shoes on. Like, what are you doing? Good grief. Go put your shoes on. You can't be at my front door with no shoes. You know it, and you know exactly what you're doing. I'm a huge fan of human feet. They make me like want to stare. It's not even sexual either. Well, it's a little sexual, but not with you. Yeah, you can't walk around me with your tootsies out. I'm really aggressively into human feet. All right? Anyway, thank you to Stu McAllister. I hope he's doing okay. I'd call him right now, but he's probably under sedation. All right, so big day planned today with our world famous Who Are These? Free beers followed by the world famous Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. If you are on Patreon, and some of you, like Derek D., he said to me, he goes, yeah, I'm not going to join the Zoom. That's just not my thing. It's like, I think you're missing out here. All right, this is such a judgment-free zone here. It is such a good time on the Zoom. Like, these people are all from different walks of life, and we're all kind of like pals. And the people on the Zoom have developed, like, character traits. And it's kind of like the character traits of the people on the Zoom carry the show. You know? It's really great. So if you are on Patreon, tier 2, that is, which is $10 a month, I provide for you a Zoom link before the show gets started. I post it. Click on it, and then it'll take you in there. Some of you are like nervous Nellies and anxious little fuckers. Like, who was it? Nick in Grand Rapids reached out, and he joined us last week. He's known as Clown of Carnage on Twitch. And he was like, yeah, I'm here, but, oh, man, I don't know. I was really anxious about this. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, we're just here riffing, fucker. Quit being a fucking pussy. He says, he's right here. He says, yeah, it was fun. See, why do you young people got to stop looking into your very detrimental crystal balls of doom and gloom. And like, oh, yeah, but what people are going to think shit about me. They're going to judge me. Quit that, you fuck. God damn. Tyler says, how many Zoom people do you have typically? On a good day, 15. Sometimes half of that. Just depends. Lately, we've had a lot of people in there. But yeah, if you're on there, you can be part of it. I think it's fun. You know, the craziest shit happens. Like I don't know if it was last week or the week before. Just as we were getting started, Pooh Bear reaches out to me and says, "Oh no, the dog got out." So I had to drop everything, and like everybody was still on the Zoom chatting, and I don't even know what happened. I mean, I'm not going to go back and watch that shit. And then I had to leave and run over to the next cul-de-sac to the Wittens and the Beaupres and get O'Neill was in the Beaupres backyard. And it was all Pooh Bear's fault. And that was the one where I go, why? I mean, what the hell? And she typically, if I in any way, like if the dog gets away, if I let the dog out and the dog gets away, and then Pooh Bear says, "What the hell? What are you doing?" You know what my response is going to be? Not the right thing. Yeah, I fucked up. I'm so sorry. You know, I got to do better. That is my response. If Pooh Bear does that and I go, "Hey, what the fuck?" She's going to go, "You do it too. You do it. You do the same thing." I go, "I know. And when I do, you know what I do? I own it." Murder Lover Linda says, "We all showed our feet, easy. You missed it." Oh, my God. I love feet so much. Alan says, "Maureen and Linda were running a train on Ben." Come on now. Jeremy says, "You know what else happens?" Maureen says the N-word constantly. Bobcats explode head gaskets. Ben poops his pants. The Zooms are awesome. Maureen says she'll be back tonight. Patreon, Zoom, the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. I've gotten a lot of feedback about John Buchanan / Jamingo. Make no mistake, John is subhuman. All right? Kate is subhuman. I talked to him yesterday and then put up with his bullshit. Let him punch himself out. He can say or do nothing. But these are awful, horrible human beings. Okay? The worst that exists. And I'm not, no hyperbole. These are ugly, ugly souls who deserve the absolute worst that life can bring them. All you need to do is look at the title of any one of John's shows, and you will see just how awful of people that they are. What has been cultivated in their brains, the level of disgusting things that come out of them. And that's coming from me. You know, when I say shit, you know I'm fucking around. But these are bigoted, horrible, awful people. Make no mistake about it. There was a moment, though, when during that, I heard from Megan, and she hadn't listened to the whole thing. And she thought that I was like making friends with those people or some shit. And she's like, "Hey, what the fuck?" I'm like, "No." And then she goes, "No, wait a minute. Hold on. I need to keep listening." Because I eventually came around and said, "Yeah, these are fucking morons. These are stupid, stupid people." Megan says they also don't understand the meaning of the word doxing. I like how John in particular said, "Yeah, if you sick your dogs after Kate, I'm going to go to the school's website where your wife works or their Facebook page and try to get her fired." It's like, well, look, dude, first of all, I do a lot for the school, and they're well aware of me. And I've been that way for 20 years. I've been here for a long, long time. They're well aware of what I'm capable of and what I do. It's still not nearly even a fraction of the debilitating comments that you guys make. I mean, if, like I say to him, you're a goddamn racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're this, you're that. And he says, no, I am not. I go, well, then what's the big deal about the people knowing what Kate does, considering the fact that her husband is a public servant? You should not be concerned about that because you're so not a racist. You shouldn't have any concern. Why is that a big deal? Now, truth be told, I don't want to have to say, yeah, because John is on my show yesterday saying that he's going to do this. So, I mean, him just saying that, which I pointed out to him, which I think he's too dumb to understand. John, you just tipping everybody off and saying that you're going to establish a troll campaign to try to smear the reputation of myself and my beloved wife. That's all I need if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, what's going on? If I do have to answer anything, yeah, I go, yeah, this is what it is. This guy is going out of his way. I mean, go ahead and take a listen to anything that I do. Everybody knows that I am absolutely not anything that you are. So don't get the idea that anything that I say or do is in any way devastating. Now, do I want anybody to go ahead and fuck with Kate? I still don't want to have to answer to it because it's a pain in the ass, but easily defeated. But no, I don't want anybody to go and harass Kate. So I'm asking you not to, the Tophuses of the world. Let's just keep it here. But it is funny to me that she is so sensitive as to who hears her show. It's like you're rolling the dice based on the level of hatred and vile commentary that comes out of this show. Your show. You're doing it. And no, what I did is not doxing. All right? Doxing is a much more involved process. And that's not it. So, fuck off. Bob says, did they mix up doxing and docking? Jeremy says, I went back and listened to some of the shows around the Exodus. Those people are fucking insane. Tophus says, I said way worse about that piece of shit. Stupid fuck, thinking he's banned, but he's not. That's the thing with these twats. They say all of this terrible stuff, but they are the most frail fucking losers. Megan says, this has been a concern of Kate's / their show for a while. To have that very low level of anxiety sounds like a dream. I'd be thinking about people finding out every single second. So when I show up and I reference it, they're like, oh, you got to understand. I mean, I say that the show is absolutely kicking ass and better than mine, but it isn't. I mean, not like I'm setting the world on fire, but there are about 10 people that listen. And it's the same people every single show. Not that I don't have the same people every single show, but, I mean, if you're sitting there at an echo chamber, you're only going to attract a certain number of people. And the show is not growing in any way. The idea is often floated, well, easy, you're in an echo chamber. The fuck I am. I have as many people that are on the other side of the political spectrum as they are on my side. Well, and I like to credit myself. That's right, I'm crediting myself. I'm not on a side. I'm not on any side. I've never been on a side, you asshole. Chris says, did you ever hear the AI Eric do the intro to that shit show? No. Alan says, I just listened to the Patreon after the Exodus. That was dark as hell. I don't recall. Rebecca says, if they're worried about people hearing the content of their podcast, perhaps they should sit back and reflect on the words coming out of their mouths. Exactly. I like to think of myself as being a show where if I did anything that's too far out of line or actually real, there's no way you people would be here. All right. So that's my follow-up to that doofus. Jeremy writes, easy, I just listened yesterday to the clip, go suck a big black dick, Eric. You know you want to. Legendary. Go suck a big black dick, Eric. I know I want to. What is that episode again? 892, I think. Where are my glasses? I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, 862. That was my big going away party for the former Zaniacs. And I love how John is like, oh, man, I got these great people. You hand-delivered these great people to me. It's like, dude. So what? So you got 10 listeners. That's so great. Congratulations. It's the same 10 people now as it was 3 years ago. I've had to get a number of my audience up to speed as to who you are because they don't know the history because I've brought them in since then. You're not going to find any new listeners to your show. You're not doing a good job at actually cultivating new audience. I don't think you know how to do that. Jeremy says, episode 862, you did a free Patreon, Ask Me Anything, and Andrea called you. Rebecca says, I've always wondered why she thought that was an insult. Why does it matter if anyone wants to suck a big black dick? Well, you got to understand. This is from, she's from Cedar Springs. Okay? Amy brings up the garden of listeners. During that point, I'd like announced, all right, I don't want you people around here. You're fucking idiots. They wrote me a letter, and it started with Eric. And it was so dramatic. You have grown a garden of listeners. And then it was all even more dramatic from that point. I was like, what the fuck is this? And boy, I read it in dramatic fashion. It was fucking great. Chris writes, you have to understand, Becky, they're racists. Yoda World says garden of listeners is serial killer talk. All right. Before we go any further, I want to mention some great sponsors. Irvine's, how about them? They just signed up for another quarter of marketing. Thank you. If you want to get your car repaired right the first time, reach out to my friends at Irvine's Auto Repair. And it's spelled ervines.com. Go to their website. Look at their Google reviews. Review after review after review. Damn near 5 stars. Some wise ass along the way probably gave them like 4.5 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, 616-532-6600 for Irvines. They can work on your regular car. They can work on your EVs, your hybrids. They have all of the skills necessary to work on the most current technology. 616-532-6600. My favorite thing about Irvines is when you go there for, let's say you want to get your brakes checked. Hey, yeah, these brakes are worn. Fronts need to be redone. Just the pads. Backs, you're going to need some rotors. All right, do that. But we're also seeing this. This one is not that urgent. This one, not that urgent. This one's really urgent. Like, I think Jeremy just had something go down where he needed something repaired. Yeah, this is urgent. You got to take care of this. Oh, shit, I had no idea. Yeah, we know. That's how that works. Now, if you want, you could say, no, don't fix any of that shit. I want to ride in a death trap. You can. It's up to you. But they take care of you at Irvine's. Irvine's has your back. There you go. It's a slug line. Irvine's has your back. 616-532-6600. 616-532-6600. ervines.com. That's ervines.com. Rebecca says, I'll be reaching out next week. I've got a check engine light going on. Yeah, that means something. Thank you to Berlin Raceway. By the way, I won't be there this weekend, but the weekend after, I will be there Saturday for races at Berlin. If you want tickets, you have to buy them in advance by 11:59 Friday. $15, 11:59 Friday. Go to berlinraceway.com. So if there's Mr. U and Mrs. U, and you got 4 kids, age 15, 13, 11, and 8. You like a lot of children. You have a lot of children. If you go anywhere, it's a goddamn fortune. Not at Berlin. Mom gets a ticket. Dad gets a ticket. That's $30. Everything else, free. What? How could that be? 15 and under, free. Parking, free. And then since that's expensive to get concessions for everybody, bring all your own snacks, all your own soft drinks for the kids. Put it in a cooler, 12 by 18. In fact, mom can take a cooler and dad can take a cooler. You can pack a whole fucking 3-course meal. They don't care. As long as it's in a 12 by 18 cooler and that you do not bring any glass and you do not bring any alcohol. They sell booze there. It's cheap when you buy it. Go to berlinraceway.com for tickets and to see what type of racing. On the 12th, I forgot what is Kuiper's. What are the super late models are going to be racing? I think they're called that. Or the super modifieds. These are the ones, the cars that'll be going around the track on the 12th are the ones that weigh like 90 pounds. And they have like 8,000 horsepower engine in it. They go so fast that the vehicle needs like this big wedge on top to keep it from taking off like an airplane. Fastest night of the year, Saturday the 12th at Berlin. You need to be there for that. Also, hello to King's Room Barbershop. That's where I get my hair cut. Go to kingsroom.net for exact locations, hours of operation, and schedules. You got 3 locations. One is in Caledonia, one is Northland Drive, and one is in Wyoming at 821 36th Street. Great crew over there. Go see Andy and Colleen. They are the owners, operators. They're awesome. They cut hair. Once you have somebody start cutting your hair, you'll be like, I love this person cutting my hair. You might want them to do it again, so you kind of got to look at the schedule, see where they're going to be in your next one. Sometimes they travel to different locations. But all there at kingsroom.net. Thank you to King's Room Barbershop for being a sponsor of my show. We've got a situation here in Grand Rapids, or the West Michigan area. I take it back, Eggleston Township. Not in Grand Rapids. It's in Muskegon County, I don't know how this happened, but some idiot was stumbling along, and the next thing you know, he finds himself in a wastewater treatment pond. Now, this is right up Chris from Buffalo's, dials into his skill set. He works in this industry, wastewater treatment, and I don't understand. Maybe they'll tell us in the story what's going on here, but it's an open pond, and this fucking idiot winds up in the pond, and now he's bitching, saying that pond needs some serious security. Let's get to the bottom of this one.
A man who found himself stuck in a pond at a wastewater treatment plant says that facility needs more security.
This is him. He's recovering. See that image of him there? All right, that's definitely hard living line appearance. Thank you to whoever that was.
Facility needs more security.
Chris Minzy suffered serious injuries when he says he tumbled into a basin of sewer and storm water at the Muskegon County Wastewater Treatment Facility. Targeting investigators.
Okay, now you saw that. It's in the middle of nowhere. He managed to stumble into that goddamn thing. I'm just going to look at it. There's nothing around it. It's in a perfect location, not around any residences. Only a true fuckface would stumble into a full of sewage and wastewater. I'm just going to go out on a limb and suggest that this guy was fucked up.
The Muskegon County Wastewater Treatment Facility. Targeting investigator Susan Samples reports Menzies' injuries prevented him from climbing up and out of the pond, which had steep banks, though it only held a few feet of water.
Attention Eggleston Fire on a Medwin near drowning with rescue. Hit the wastewater, 698 North Maple Island.
6:30 on Friday morning at the Muskegon County wastewater plant, a man spotted in this pond, apparently stuck in 3 feet of sewer and storm water.
Found a male in one of the water cells.
That male, Chris Minzy, believes he...
Oh, look at him. Oh, my God.
Fell in Thursday night, spent 8 hours in the water until he was rescued and rushed to the hospital where he remains, recovering from a brain bleed, collapsed lung, broken ribs, and shattered vertebra.
I don't remember much about what actually happened as far as the event itself.
He was massively disoriented from the trauma. And from
okay, there you go.
The cold.
Real sexy voice Andrea vibe on this one. Okay. That's definitely hard living line appearance.
And he was hypothermic when they found him.
Minzy's girlfriend, Jessie Tisron, says the 41-year-old took a walk Thursday night to clear his head. Life had been rough lately.
It became
dark. You know what that means.
Dark, and he got lost and disoriented.
The couple's home in the Maple Island estate.
Another red flag. They live in Maple Island Estates modern mobile homes park.
Is approximately 2,000 feet as the crow flies, and as Minzy was walking from the pond where he ended up.
How'd you like to be the resident of the mobile home park that they built next to the shit pond? Oh my God, this might be the most HLL story that has ever HLL'd.
Wastewater property is massive, 11,000 acres, a place where people watch wildlife and hunt it. It's not clear exactly where Minzy fell in, though Tisron believes it was likely here, where the barrier is not quite 2 feet tall, and there's one spot that has no retaining wall at all. What the couple says they are certain of, Minzy was not on drugs, drinking, or suicidal.
Sure, if you say so.
Remember...
Yeah, how did he sustain all those injuries? Because I'm looking at that scenery, and it's like, did he like body slam himself down onto the concrete and roll into the shit water?
Like believing that I could see some people across the way and just screaming for hours that night, or as I remember, screaming for help for hours.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely should have had more barriers, for sure. This is a residential area.
Shut up.
and may not have been when they placed it there, but
that is not a residential area. That is a wastewater retention pond that no one ever has gone for a walk by.
Is now, and they needed to address that.
Even if you are walking along it, how in the world could you possibly fall into that? And how do you get out? Or how do you not get out? I'm looking at those embankments. Who can't crawl out of that?
Muskegon County responded late this afternoon to our questions saying, quote, "We can confirm the incident occurred in cell 1. That's how they refer to those retention ponds. They went on to say, "We have never had individuals that we are aware of trespass and enter into any of the wastewater cells." A county spokesperson said it could not comment at this time about lighting around the pond, nor if they're considering new barriers for that pond, which has not been used actually since 2017.
Oh, so that's like that 8-year-old shit water. It's not even fresh shit water. Yeah, the idea that they would have to do anything to keep people out of that. If I work for that entity, I'm going to actually put up a billboard, and instead of a barrier, all you need to do is put this asshole's picture on there and say, if you are as stupid as this fuck, you might wind up in this shit water. If you are a total moron, you might be in this shit water like this asshole. Oh, my God. Tofa says common sense would keep you from walking into shit ponds. Phone call rolling in. Hello. Hello. I've been getting a lot of telemarketing calls lately. And now I'll probably get a lot more because I picked that one up. Shitwater Hilljacks for asshole of the day. Just write it down now. And then the idea that they should have barriers, they should have signs, they should have an electric fence, they should have a dome, put a sarcophagus over all of this to keep us out, to keep us safe. You're an idiot. How stupid are you? You know you're dumb when you move in. Well, she probably can only move into a place, and him, that the backyard is a wastewater treatment facility. I like how it's like, yeah, he just went for a walk to clear his head. He's been having a rough time. Come on. I don't believe any of that. Tofa says, stop going onto private property. Easy. Yoda World says, cartoonishly bad place to live. Yeah, I'm guessing that the lot rent for that dump is pretty cheap. You know they say like some folks who are poor as fuck, they need a place to live too. That's where they live. That's the only way those poor fucks are going to wind up getting a place to live. You know, there's a reason why they can get away with $200 lot rent and, whatever it costs for the actual mobile home with about a 24% interest rate. Chris says he was definitely not on drugs. I want to know how he sustained all the injuries, because if you fall 1 foot into a retention pond, you're not going to have busted ribs and a brain bleed. So we are not getting, in my opinion, all of the information necessary that gap-toothed girlfriend talked about. I like how at one point Gap-Tooth had to announce, yeah, he was not drunk and he was not on drugs. And he's not suicidal either. All this was a mistake because there was not a fence to keep him safe. Bob says he looked like a big boy. Heifers fall hard. Jeremy says the brain bleed explains why he was there in the first place. Exactly. God damn. Cole says, forget the shit pond. Who goes into any pond? Yeah, this whole thing is weird. Yoda Whirl adds, yeah, that guy's physique looks like he'd have problems with a baby gate. You guys are funny today. I'll give you that. Keith Urban was on the radio. And Mix 102.3, Haley and Max in the morning. They are known as Australia's Mix 102.3. Haley and Max in the morning. And they have one of their favorite sons of Australia, Keith Urban, on their show. And the way I understand this, Keith Urban was not happy with something that they actually asked him a legitimate question. It's a little bit titillating, I guess. Something that probably should have been rolled with. Like if I was a famous star, like if I'm Keith Urban and my wife is a famous actress, like Nicole Kidman. They wanted to know, how in the world are you able to process when she has to do love scenes in film? Keith did not like that. Now, I just wish Keith would have said something here. But this is how that unfolded on Mix 102.3, Haley and Max in the morning.
The first thing I thought of, with your beautiful wife, Nicole Kidman, being on so many great movies, TV shows all the time. I watched a movie with her and Zac Efron recently, Family Affair, and I thought,
that's a good one.
What does Keith Urban think when he sees his beautiful wife with beautiful younger men like Zac Efron having these beautiful love scenes on TV and radio? Oh, why has that happened? What's just happened here?
He's disconnected from Zoom.
Did he just hang up on us?
I think his team hung up on us because they didn't want us to ask that question.
All right. I thought that the crew on the mix, I don't think that was a bad question. Tofus says it's a weird way to frame that question. I don't think so at all. He referred to it as a beautiful love scene. Now, if he said it the way I would have said it, I mean, that would have, I think, been a real bummer. Well, it would have been great. What do you think about when Nicole? How do you react when Nicole's getting porked by Zac Efron? I don't think that's a bad question at all.
The first thing I thought of, with your beautiful wife, Nicole Kidman, being on so many great movies, TV shows all the time. I watched a movie with her and Zac Efron recently, Family Affair, and I thought,
that's a good one.
What does Keith Urban think when he sees his beautiful wife with beautiful younger men like Zac Efron having these beautiful love scenes on TV and radio? Oh, why has that happened? What's just happened here?
He's disconnected from Zoom.
Did he just hang up on us?
I think his team hung up on us because they didn't want us to ask that question.
I think the only thing that could have been weird if the previous question wasn't building to it, or was, the previous question about something that was completely innocuous and innocent, and then all of a sudden he drops the heaviness on him like that. I don't know. If it's me, I would never do it that way, where if it was something innocuous and, hey, I got to run this by you. But if we were kind of starting to put our toe in the water of that, I would definitely ask that question. If I'm him, though, there is a way to sidestep that. I mean, you can, I think you get a little bit more publicity like now because it was like an awkward moment. Otherwise, we wouldn't really know about it. If he just said, well, you know, she sure is lucky or anything, this would have been, nobody would have talked about it. I thought it was decent. I think that would have been a great opportunity for him to give a fantastic answer. Jeremy says it's a very free beer way of asking the question, long-winded and kind of creepy. Donut Dan is here. He says that's hilarious. Dan, we're now a couple of weeks removed from the dirty donut, which included your 9/11. When one of the participants of the race shit inside of the high school grounds, the actual inside the hallway by the trophy case of Martin High School. Some animal took a shit on the very populated hallway as participants in your beautiful race were walking through, and people were walking into it with bare feet and smearing it all over the floor. I witnessed this myself. Have you had the opportunity to tell this story to people, and is it funny yet? Because at the time, when I broke that news to you, you were in shock. I watched the blood drain out of your face when I rushed back to the podium stand, and I said, I've got breaking news for you. Some animal has shit in the main hallway of Martin High School. There's shit there, and someone walked in it, and it's spread everywhere now. It's a total poo-poo Picasso. You just looked at me like, I cannot believe what you just said. And then Casey's retarded cousin started cracking up. Megan says the announcement could have sounded like, donut fuckers, we have a situation. I'm stealing situation. If somebody shits in the hallway next year, I'm dropping situation. Or I could say, ladies and gentlemen, last year we had a situation. We do now, if you have to go caca, make sure you hold it in. How about, chocolate lasagna in the hallway? Great joke. Chocolate lasagna, that's a Hot Wings classic. He came up with that one. Give credit where it's due. NFK situation. Dan says, it is funny now, but boy, was I pissed when it happened. How often, think about this, some of the greatest things that I have ever discussed on this show have involved shit. I don't know what it is, but to me, because shit is such a horrible thing. I mean, honest to God. Something that it only has one spot, and that is in the toilet. And you get shit in places that aren't the toilet, and it leads to some wild-ass moments. Megan says maybe you can get some of those red bags that they used on the poop cruise for swag at the race. You do need to understand, though, that you can capitalize on this. I think that for next year's Dirty Donut, we can come up with a phrase and put it, you can put like, never forget Brown Hallway, Dirty Donut, 2025. And you can start selling those next year. Never forget the Brown Hallway, or some other horrible comment or way of putting it, so that those who know. You know, some of these races have like something that's added to the lore. Like the Boston Marathon, isn't there like a special jacket you get? And there's lore behind the jacket. We can establish something with the human feces in the hallway from a marketing standpoint. I think there's an opportunity there that people will love to laugh. Donut Dan says maybe we make a sign that says poop-free zone for the front of the school. See, now you're thinking. You go poop-free zone, and then I can be announcing, ladies and gentlemen, you know that the inside of the school this year is a poop-free zone. The bathrooms are fine, but there is no poop in the hallway this year. We've got monitors and cameras in case somebody wants to poop in the hallway, and I'll be like leaning into it that way. And ladies and gentlemen, you can get your poop-free zone Dirty Donut t-shirt for just $45. I think this is called making lemonade, Dan. And you've got some bright marketing minds here. Some of the usual suspects are murder lover Linda, Megan. She's got a wizard. She comes up with this shit all the time. Donut Dan says we could have it sponsored by Depends. Look at that. 3 great ideas. Yoda World says use the shit emoji, put the Ghostbusters / over it, and give it googly eyes or something. Amy says these are all great ideas. Agreed. Linda says the aid station attendants, the water station attendants could wear hazmat suits. Megan says, I bet you could get porta potties for free. We didn't need porta potties. The beauty of this event is you are right on the place. You know how like high schools have like campuses where like the football stadium and then there's like where we are, where the podium is, there's a building 100 feet away with ladies and gentlemen restrooms. And then in the school, there's a massive facility. So you just got to, literally, if you took a shit in the one and then walked into the school, you could be in another toilet in about 90 seconds. I have never been able to understand. I've been racking my brain how a person was able to even get shit to fly out of their clothing. And did they maybe actually pull their pants down and squat in the hallway and take a shit? Was this a prank? We don't know. But it was definitely human feces. That was ugly. Well, Dan, I'm glad you're here. We haven't spoken since that amazing story took place. I consider that story to be an all-timer. The shit incident at the Dirty Donut race. Not quite Gary at the Men's Warehouse, but few can. Some wiener in Grand Rapids decided that he wanted to set, I think, some kind of record. I guess there had been a record for the number of golf holes played in a certain amount of time. And he just set the record. He started at 6 a.m. and he played till 10 p.m. And the dude set the record for the number of golf holes played. 361.
That's one. I love it, and I want to keep being able to support it because it's supported me.
All right, now that's a wiener voice right there.
Keep being able to support it because it's supported me.
That's 2. 3.
Wow, right off the back.
And 4.
Another one. Nice putt.
Honestly, I don't remember a lot of it. Your body just kind of goes into like a flow state,
Par for the course at Eastern Hills in Kalamazoo is 72. Grand Rapids golfer
A lot of puns.
Bradley Lardy recently set a record there.
Bradley Lardy?
No, not for lowest score, but for most holes played.
Get up and down from there. Oh, we're short.
361. He did it in one day.
You know, I have like a hot dog in one hand as we're going. Okay, jump out of the cart, hot dog down, and we're going. So it's a lot of go, go, go. I think I averaged about 3 or less minutes per hole.
How many strokes did it take to set the record?
Oh my gosh. Short of 2,000, I'd say around 2,000 probably. Something like that.
Something like this, or so.
I don't know anything about golf, but I think he's got a pretty sweet swing.
Something like this, or so.
You better have a good swing.
Yeah.
You better have a good swing if you're playing that much fucking golf.
A lot of golf, and for good reason.
I would never have been able to golf without First Tee. You know, I didn't have, you know, the financials to buy golf clubs or get lessons or anything like that. I didn't even know what golf was when I first started. But thanks to First Tee, I was able to get into golf, and I want to get back to him now. Hit the same side as me.
Lardy's Crucible on the course is specifically a First Tee golf marathon record, a Grand Rapids nonprofit that tries to lower the barrier of entry to the game.
When you're keeping track of your own behavior, your own score, I've seen kids
they don't want any
flourish.
poor
We're
kids.
We're building youth to thrive. That's what we're trying to do.
From teaching him putting to putting on the marathons.
That'll be a little long.
First Tee is largely responsible for Lardy's 361-hole record.
How about this guy's voiceover?
He was a standout. He was running to and from his ball. He was fixing his own divots every shot.
As long as the nonprofit is raising money, you can find the golfer on the green.
Nice course, by the way. Look at that shit. Look at that dump.
Every shot.
Yeah, that looks great. It looks like the retention pond that fat ass was swimming in.
As long as the nonprofit is raising money, you can find the golfer on the green, playing for as long as he can.
There will be a day where I can't play, 360 holes, and I'll, play 54 holes, and I look forward to that day. It's going to happen eventually, and I will still play it.
For Fox 17 News, I'm Sam Lanstra.
All right, so let's review. First of all, golf sucks. Second of all, what a stupid charity. As I say that, Megan writes, First Tee is a cool organization. Ugh. Third of all, what a waste of fucking time. God damn. Man, that is... Joe Martinez is here. He wrote, fuck you. Golf is awesome. Oh, no, it is not. That is the most awful game. All right? The only time golf is good is if you're drunk. And I don't drink. So it sucks. Because I'm there, and then everyone there is drunk. So it sucks even more. Donut Dan says golf is cheap compared to hockey and race cars, and there are plenty of Hilljacks racing cars. I don't buy it's impossible for poor kids to play. Bullshit. Go to Play It Again Sports. You spend $80 and just hit them around the fucking schoolyard. Yoda World says, did he just say he looks forward to being paralyzed, or did I mishear that? I'm pretty sure that you misheard that. Tofus said that course looks like a sand pit where Hilljacks go to ride dirt bikes. David says 3 minutes a hole. I call BS. Cole says, new asshole of the day guy. This guy passes shit pond guy. Dan says, did the golf guy shit on the fairway? Let's see. Megan says, oh, Eric, my BIL, I don't know what that means. My BIL Neely has done this. I need to find out how many he played for first tee. What's a BIL? And who's Neely? And why does he do dumb shit like this? Oh, brother-in-law. His name's Neely? Your brother-in-law is Neely? Yeah, tell him to quit fucking around and do something cool. Anyway. Thank you to Frank Fuss, My Policy Shop Insurance. Frank can get you started on your healthcare.gov insurance policy or Obamacare. If you are in between jobs or your boss does not offer health insurance or you're a business owner, that's how you get your health insurance. You can also get a policy from the marketplace if your employer's healthcare costs out of your pocket is 9.75% or more of your pay. If it is, then you have an option to get your health care on the marketplace and you don't have to get your boss's shitty insurance policy. How do you know? There's more details to it than that. Frank's in charge of everything. Reach out to him no matter where you are. Buyinsurancehere.com and he will talk you through it. It's that simple. He gets paid nothing by you. It's all free. This will change your life, I swear to God. Just like our pal Derek D., who sent that email along the other day. Very nice email detailing how much Frank had helped him. Buyinsurancehere.com. Go there and mention me. He'll also get you started with your Medicare policy and your Social Security planning if you're an old bastard or you're taking it early. Some people take it early. There's also life insurance. If you want to get started on a life insurance policy for your family, go to buyinsurancehere.com. Thanks to Kuiper Tree Care. They just signed up for another quarter. They renewed marketing on the show. By the way, I will be cutting trees with Kuiper Tree Care. We're going to make a video of me doing tree removal. This is going to be ridiculous. I cannot wait. If you want information about getting Kuiper Tree Care out to your house here in West Michigan, call or text 616-828-8225. That is 616-828-2225. I'm sorry, 8225. That felt weird when I said it. Once again, 616-828-8225. For Kuiper Tree Care, Kuiper, treecare.com. The remains of a TikTok influencer have been a lot of stories lately about water plants. This chick is in Peru, and she went missing. She's known as China Baby on TikTok. Millions of people follow her, and this has been the thing. You're getting a lot of OnlyFans stars and porn stars and TikTok influencers who are winding up dead. And I don't know why, but that is a trend. I don't know if you've got like a Boring Dean scenario going on where someone is stalking and just a fucking weirdo, but that is a thing. Every day I turn around, there's some story about another influencer who had something terrible happen to them. Well, this chick is also dead. Only 19. She disappeared. And so the water comes in, the wastewater plant, and it appears someone flushed her down the toilet. I am not kidding. Cut her up and flushed her. And so the chunks of this woman are traveling the route through the sewer system. And then there's like a grate. And if there's anything really solid, it gets stuck. And so the guys working at the wastewater treatment plant in Peru, that's what happened. Dismembered remains of teen TikTok influencer found clogging water plant days after she went missing. Headline in the New York Post. No bullshit. So you're some guy working there and you're like, what the fuck? And there's like, a pussy lip and a fucking finger and an ear. Oh my God. Mutilated remains. Tyler says, a pussy lip, LOL. David says, did they find all of her parts? Not yet. Not yet. Listen to this. They're only finding like bits and pieces. They found like a chunk of her back with a portion of a tattoo. The workers found the remains, and this is her right here. She's an odd-looking bird. I don't know. Maybe this is a pic. Maybe this is what they found in the grate here because she looks dead. This is an odd-looking bird. Yeah, this picture was taken at the wastewater treatment plant right after they fished this body part of her chest and head and face out and hand and arm. Look at the teen's remains were uncovered at the plant. This is the part I just talked to you about. Here she is here. And that's the chunk with the tattoo. Wow. Great question for Chris. Has Chris ever found a tramp stamp at the poop plant? Dan says, is she going to be okay? Jeremy says she looks like the former wrestler Chyna. You know what she looks like? She looks like one of those real dolls. You get one of those sex dolls. They're called real dolls, or they're like more expensive and they're more lifelike, but not really. And they have that permanent fucked up face like that. That's what she looks like. Tophus says, Jesus, she looks like something from The Hills Have Eyes. Tyler says she looks like her parents are related. Yoda World says, see, if you can flush a TikToker down the toilet, we should get a pass on the flushable wipes. Exactly right. That's a great point. That is a new TikTok challenge. Can you flush an influencer down a toilet? All right, a little bit more on this. Parts of the body were found trapped in the river filtration grid within the water plant a week after. Graphic videos showed the crew pulling chunks out of the plant last month. Some of her is still missing. She left her native Venezuela when she was still a minor to leave with her boyfriend, Mayer Jimenez Castillo, who's probably in the U.S. working in a field somewhere. She never told us she was leaving. She just left, and that was it. A relative told La Repubblica. In 2022, the boyfriend was found dead by suicide. However, the family of boyfriend said that the chick was connected to his death. The brutal nature of the death is similar to methods used by human traffickers, according to the Peruvian National Police, who are investigating the crime. So, maybe they had been aware that this has been happening, and they established, like when you were a kid, and you'd have, like in your laundry tub, your mom would attach a nylon to that discharge hose out of the washing machine so when it drains. That's what they did in Peru. Essentially, they had a big nylon there, and it was full of, like, puss lips and whatever body parts flew out of that spot from that chick getting flushed down the toilet. Tophus says, did you find any TikTokers in the plant, Dan? I think you mean Chris. Megan says, you're right. She does kind of have that real doll mouth. And then she immediately regrets it. She writes, damn it, I feel bad for writing that. Do not feel bad. It's just a joke. None of this matters. It's all gone. It all gets flushed. We could say whatever we want. This is our safe space to say whatever we want. There's no feeling bad about awful jokes. This is where we can be horrible about moments like this, but still not as bad, even as close to as bad as the Boomer Bunker. I mean, they actually mean that shit when they write, go home, Haitians. We've got our work cut out for us when it comes to the asshole of the day. I am completely out of material for the day. I feel a nap coming on today. You're wondering what I just did there? You might even have heard that. I had to crack my elbow. John Buchanan was the asshole of the day yesterday. He's always the asshole of the day. Bob says gallows humor is the best kind of humor, without a doubt. I think we've got golf kid, golf dork, or shit pond swimmer. I think that shit pond swimmer has enough stacked against him. So I'm going to make it the golf dork today is the asshole of the day. As usual, you've been a great audience. Thank you. I'll talk to you on the Patreon, and then after that, it's a Big Fraud Wednesday. So lots of fun things to get to a little bit later on. Make sure you sign up for 7 days free on Patreon, and you can enjoy the fun with us. I am attempting. There it is. Thought I was without my music to wrap up the show. Rebecca says, hey, great show and chat today. I agree, especially about the chat. Thank you so much. Talk to you later, folks. Bye-bye.